Hey everyone, and welcome to another Warframe video. So, I've been asked a question a lot recently, and that is, how do I feel about Fortuna? Has it held my attention as long as the Plains has? And sort of, what do I think of it, especially when compared to the Plains? Well, honestly, Fortuna is based on the same principles of the Plains, but pretty much everything is, you know, an upgrade. A lot of the excitement for the Plains came from the fact that it was brand new. It was brand spanking new, completely different to anything else the rest of the game had to offer. It was so different, like so different to the rest of the game, and that was where a lot of the excitement came from for that. And I think that's also a lot of the reason why we spent so much time there when Fortuna actually came, when the Plains originally came out. The thing about the Old Valis is, for me, personally, it's absolutely beautiful, but for me, it doesn't innovate enough. Now, I'm not going to say it's bad, because that's absolutely not what I'm saying. But honestly, everything in Fortuna is an improvement, but it's not exactly new. So, you know, the bonuses and the bounties, absolutely fantastic. Something I want to see, I absolutely want to see, like, in every single one of the open world things going forward. I really want to see that. The pacing on the bounties as well. The pacing on the bounties is actually fantastic. Like, everyone knows, obviously, on the Plains, you've got, you know, taking your drone for a walk, which is not something I think people enjoy doing very much. That bounty sucks. Like, walking it across the Plains isn't any fun, not whatsoever. So there's none of that in the Old Valis in Fortuna. Farming for parts to build bits and pieces, so much less frustrating. Like, I hate farming for wisps. Like, wisp farming absolutely sucks. And the fact that we don't have to really do that in Fortuna is good, and something I actually am really enjoying. You've got the fact that the fishing minigame, like, I know it's not much of a minigame, like, you just have to, like, you know, stop the thing in a certain area. But honestly, that makes fishing a bit more fun, a little bit more interactive. A lot more fun, personally, than the Plains fishing. The skill-based, like, gameplay for mining as well, like having to stop it in a certain area, while it's not particularly difficult, is a massive upgrade over the old mining, because it's a lot more fun, it's a lot more engaging. So, you know, I haven't even touched the best thing about Fortuna yet. I actually give a damn about the characters in Fortuna. In the Plains, I don't. Like, I know poor old Konzu and his early lunch, but I do not like the characters in the Plains. Like, I don't care about them. I don't care about their story. I'm not invested in them at all. Fortuna, on the other hand, I am absolutely invested in them. As soon as I heard about the mem fragments, I wanted to do them, and that's why I did the guides all in the same day as I did. Because I want you guys to be able to enjoy those too, because the characters are so different, they're so rich, like they've got story, they've got a backstory behind them, and I love that. I love those characters, and I want them to, like, I'm actually invested in them at this point. And I don't have that with the Plains, so everything on the Old Valis in Fortuna is an improvement. Like, it's so much better than the Plains. But the problem is, for me, it's, you know, it's not held my attention as much. But I don't think that's necessarily a problem with Fortuna as such. I think it's because, like I say, the Plains was so new. I spent so long on the Plains that, honestly, it could even be that I spent so much time in the Plains, and that caused me to burn out with this sort of gameplay in Warframe more than anything else. I don't know, I can't really put my finger on that very much. But honestly, like, it's the same, the problem is it's the same gameplay loops. Like, that's what it is. It's the same gameplay loops still. Like, even if you compare side by side Fortuna and the Plains, you know, you've got kit guns versus swords, you've got mining, you've got fishing, you've got bounties, you've got boss fights. That's all the same between the two. Like, they both have those things, and they aren't different enough to make them feel different. That's the thing. The only real differences are the hunting, which is brilliant. I really like that, and I really enjoy it. It's a good way of getting standing, and I do that if I'm feeling chill and I want to get some standing. And you know, who doesn't like floofs? Plus, you've got the mower pets. Mower pets are something I really, really like as well, and have been looking forward to mowers as pets for the longest time now, so I am so happy with that. And you have the K-Drives, which, I mean, yeah, the K-Drives I think are a good thing, but poorly implemented. So, there are things that, like, are special about the Fortuna, but that I just do not like, and the K-Drives are definitely one of them. I think the K-Drives were a gimmick, but one that I don't particularly enjoy. The problem is, they're more grind than they're worth. I know, grinding jokes, haha, but they are so much more grind than they're worth. Like, grinding out the standing for them is just, honestly, it's tiring. It's not fun. Whoops. It's not fun at all. It's you go to the same place all the time because otherwise your standing gains are so slow that it just takes forever to do. So you go to the same place. You go to the pipe outside of Fortuna, or you go to that circular thing that I can't remember the name of. Like, you go to the same places every time. Like, you can't do it just by playing and just by, like, playing around with the thing. I mean, you can, but if you want to do it in any reasonable time, you can't. It's just, like I say, and even the mods, like, all the mods do, for the most part, the combat mods for them are not great, because they are just too weak to do anything meaningful for the most part. And then the only good ones are the ones that reduce the grind, but then you've got to grind to get those mods. So, I mean, yeah. The only good thing about the K-Drives for me is the fact that you only have to do one lot of mastery for them. Don't have to do mastery for every board, so I'm pretty happy with that one. But honestly, as one of the special features of Fortuna, I really do hate the K-Drives with a passion. I just don't enjoy them whatsoever. And, like, the one thing you could have said, like, previously, is that you could have said that it's free, whereas the Archwing launcher isn't. But now the Archwing launcher is infinite uses as well, so you know what the best K-Drive is? An Archwing. Doesn't matter what Archwing, any Archwing will do. Like, you don't have to worry about terrain, you don't have to really worry about enemies, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Just fly over the top of absolutely everything, job done. Like, it's so easy, so simple, and it doesn't have any of the downsides that the K-Drives do. So, I don't know, I really, really don't see the point in them. They're a fun gimmick, but honestly, they got rather stale rather quickly for me. But hey, one of those things, I guess. We're not all gonna enjoy everything. And then you've got the spider fights. The problem with the spider fights is, outside of, like, leveling up in the ranks of the Vox Solaris, I don't find them at all useful. Like, I'm not gonna go and farm them outside of that. I'm just not. Because there's no point. There really isn't. Like, a single relic for doing those boss fights is not a valid, like, it's not a valid reward. It's not a good enough reward to get people going back over and over again. The Eidolons, you've got those arcanes. You've got arcanes in the Eidolons, and you've got a single relic in the boss fight in Fortuna. I don't get it. I really don't understand that at all. Because I don't know. I really, really dislike. And the thing is, the fight, like, at first was kind of cool, and then you just realize everything's kind of clunky, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't really enjoy it that much now. If you're not using chroma, or you're not using a frame that has insane amounts of like knockdown recovery or knockdown immunity or just straight up tankiness, you just get absolutely slaughtered. And it means that honestly, there are very few frames that are actually genuinely viable for that. You could use a ton of different frames for normal, for Eidolons. Like, there are so many frames. Of course, everyone's got the meta, you know, your Trinity, Volt, and all that fun stuff. But for the spider fights, you're stuck basically using the same tanky things and or just using a chroma. Just use a single chroma just to one-shot absolutely everything again. Like, even the Eidolons, you're a special tactics you can use. Like, you can use void mode to avoid certain attacks. You can just, you know, your amps are actually useful. Like, the spider fight, yes, the amps are kind of used, but it's not, like, useful. Like, you don't have to have a good amp setup. You just have to have an amp that can left click. Like, I really think it's very, I don't know, it hasn't come out well, and I don't really enjoy it anymore. I got bored of it very, very quickly. I don't know. Even some of the attacks, like I say, with the Eidolon, you can avoid certain attacks by doing certain things, like entering void mode. Those like shields that the spider puts out, you can't even void mode. You can't go into void mode. You like, if you could go into void mode, and then those won't hit you, then that would be amazing. But they do. Though those shield things, they're too high to bullet jump up and over. So you can't use that as a tactic either. Like, there are so many tactics you would love to be able to use, but you can't because they just don't work. There is basically no tactics to it. And then, as I say, you've got the massive amount of knockdown, knockback, and stagger. Like, it is not a fun experience. It really isn't. I don't know. I think that fight really... They need to go back and have a look at that fight and improve that sort of thing a little bit. Try and actually come up with some tactics for the different like being able to avoid attacks and stuff like that. Because right now there really, like, as far as I'm concerned, there really is absolutely nothing. But the thing is, I don't know. Actually, thinking about it, how you, like, would you like to see maybe, because DA definitely wants to reduce the grind of these places, and they have done with Fortuna with the bounty bonuses. They absolutely have reduced the grind. Would you prefer to see maybe like the resource, not the resource pool, the arcane pool from the Eidolons get cut down the middle and split half and half of the spiders to maybe up the drop chance in both places? Because, like, trying to get arcanes like Energize and Grace, stuff that is genuinely really good right now, and is a game-changing thing. Like they do change the game once you get hold of these things. Would you like to see them split to make maybe farming them a little bit easier? I don't know, maybe that could be an option. That would definitely make things relevant, at least for me, so I don't know about you guys. That would, I definitely would be happier with that, but, you know, I don't farm them that often, so maybe my feelings come a little bit as a result of that, but I'm not sure. But let me know what you think about that one in the comments. But, like, I know a lot of what I said is negative. Like, I don't want to be overly negative, because Fortuna's not bad. Like, I like Fortuna. I like the bounties. The bounties are brilliant. They're fun to do. Like, I have actually had a lot of fun just playing Fortuna and playing the bounties, because they're good. They're well paced. They're just so much fun to do that I don't mind. Like, I just have fun doing the combat, which is that. I mean, that's the aim of everything. Like, fun is obviously the most important thing. And Fortuna has that in spades. And it is all upgrades on the planes. Like, it's so much better than the planes. Every single thing is an upgrade. But I think a lot of it is the new stuff that has come in with Fortuna isn't as good as I hoped it was going to be. And I think has issues. And I think that perhaps that has kind of maybe spoiled my outlook on it. And like made me slightly jaded of it. I'm not entirely sure, really. Like, I don't like the spider fights. I don't like K-Drive. And like, those are two big things that are different about Fortuna to the planes. So, I don't know. Like, I'm excited to see what happens with this place, though. I'm really excited to see what happens from now on. I want to see if the sentients, like, I don't know, maybe they get frustrated with the corpus doing experiments on their kin and decide to come in and destroy the corpus to try and punish them for experimenting with their weapons and their technology and for capturing their like fellow sentients. I don't know. Perhaps they could like escape and cause havoc among the corpus units out on the plains. Perhaps that could be a thing as well. There's so many bits and pieces that they really could do. We're still waiting for the other two orb fights as well, the other two spiders. That's also a thing, like things that we're waiting for. So there's bits and pieces, and we haven't had an event either. We haven't had a Plague Star, we've not had ghouls or anything like that. So there are still bits and pieces that can happen on the plains that I'm really looking forward to. And sorry, on the Fortuna, I always call Fortuna the plains. It's bad, but so yeah, like I hope I don't come across as overly negative, because I do love Fortuna. Like, Fortuna is really damn good. Like, I really do like it. But I do think that doesn't mean that it doesn't have issues, and I think those issues like do need to be kind of looked at a bit. It has really affected the way I see things. It has affected my playtime on it, and it does mean that I am not as invested in it as the planes. I'm not, like, in the planes, it got to the stage where I was like, I don't ever want to leave this place. I am going to live here forever. And, like, I spent months and months and months doing nothing but the planes. Whereas with Fortuna, it just hasn't had that hook. And I wonder if that part of that is just that I don't feel it is new enough. But maybe it's that, maybe it's something else. Maybe it's something I can't really put my finger on. Like, I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. I think I have, like, rabbited on enough a little bit now, and maybe probably backtracked over a few bits and pieces and said the same thing a couple of times. Still getting used to doing these walkie-talkie live commentary type videos, because it's not something I used to do, and definitely a new thing for me, so I apologize if I've like backtracked a few times, but hey, you know, I hope it doesn't come across I'm being too negative or too harsh, because I do really like it. It is better than the planes in every single way. And yeah, I'm just excited to hear what you think of the Fortuna in the comments below. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I shall catch you in the next one.